News Now Sweden is a delightful fellow on Bunny Boots. Bunny Boots has finally posted the conversation that I had with Nasty Nathaniel. He threw on all the bells and whistles. It's beautifully done. But in that, News Now Sweden has made the comment that I don't like to answer questions. I don't even know how to respond to that, considering that I answered his question several times. The question he's currently asking, I've answered several times in videos. I regularly, like almost daily, have an answering comments video or two, but somehow I don't like answering questions. Well, okay, News Now Sweden, I believe his question was, why did I not go to law school, and why did I not become a lawyer after going to law school, and then why did I suddenly come back into being a lawyer? I've answered this multiple times, but because News Now Sweden apparently is too lazy to dig through and find it, I will answer it again. You're welcome. When I was in law school, I decided I didn't want to be a lawyer. It wasn't my cup of tea. I answered this on one of the very first streams I was on with Bunny Boots. I didn't like the thought of having someone's life in my hands. I had a career path laid out in trucking, where I was slated to become management, and that all sounded great to me. I could go to sleep at night worrying if somebody was going to get their TV on time, and not whether someone was going to do time in prison or lose their life savings or lose visitation rights with their child. I was young. I didn't want that kind of responsibility. And I didn't like the kind of people that were around me in law school. They weren't seeking justice, they were seeking a win. And to me that seemed wrong. Because again, I was young, and like many people who watch my channel, they didn't understand that winning is how you get justice. Winning is the idea. It's not perfect. Obviously, there is no perfect system. But the idea behind American jurisprudence is that the two sides will fight it out, and the side with the best facts, the best argument, the law on their side will win, and justice will be done that way. Obviously, that's not always how it happens. I'm aware of this, but that's the intent, and more often than not, it appears to work that way. So I did my thing, and at a certain point, things hadn't worked well for me. I had taken a position in a moving industry. I was the director of operations of a moving company. And then the stock market crashed, and the housing market crashed, and everything crashed. And I did a good job, so the company kept me on as long as they could, but I was too expensive, and it ended up they had to lay me off. At that time, I was overqualified for everything. I was overqualified for everything. I tried my best to find work. I applied everywhere, including places like McDonald's, and I was just overqualified for everything. I did work on the side. I tried to start a business. Doing trade show logistics, because I had made contacts, but that was a terrible time in the U.S. economy, especially in California, especially around where I was. And during that time, my wife and I were pretty financially strapped, and we ended up losing our property. So at a certain point after that, I was unemployed from 2009, from August of 2009. A friend of mine finally said, why don't you become a salesman? So I eventually got a job as a salesman. He got me on with the company that he worked for, and I found that I did rather well at it. And I never even had thought about going back into law. I have never taken the bar exam. I signed up for it when I was in law school. I was just like part of the thing. They had you sign up for it. And I filled out the background application, but I never actually went and took the test. So you can do an open records request. I don't care. I had never taken the bar exam up until the one time that I actually took the bar exam. And I was never a paralegal. I've been completely open and honest about this, but whatever. So I was a salesman for a certain amount of time, and then I stumbled upon, again, I went over this in the video, I stumbled upon the First Amendment community, actually the public photography community, which kind of bled into the First Amendment auditing community. And I enjoyed debating in the comments. There are a lot of people who say a lot of really stupid things, and because I have a modicum of intelligence and a law degree, I was able to spot the people spewing nonsense. One of which, one of my personal heroes was Right to Record, who said the most asinine things, and would always go on to say how he had a law degree from University of Knoxville, Tennessee. He graduated somewhere around 1979-ish, or at least that's his claim, and he was retired. But when you try to pin him down on actually were you a lawyer, no, you never would. Loved arguing with that guy, went around and around and around. He would always move the goalposts to a different thing. It was beautiful, it was fun, it was exciting. He kept me on my toes though, and he got me to look up things, and I found that I loved it. It was fun. I had found an area of the law that interested me, and the weird thing about the law is that it's all interconnected. When people are like, oh, well, why is News Now Houston hiring a personal injury attorney to do his 1983 claim? It's because personal injuries and 1983 claims are very, very similar. They use a lot of the same concepts. It's just, there you go. So in studying about the First Amendment, I decided that, you know what, I would really like to go back to law school, and I planned on becoming a lawyer for the First Amendment crowd. That was my idea, that was my goal. So if people, you know, you always hear about these people, you know, I want to get a lawyer to represent me. I thought, well, you know what, I can be that lawyer. That was my goal. So I went back to study. I got a book on my own. I didn't go back to law school, obviously I already graduated, but I got a book on my own, and I signed up for the bar exam, and I realized very quickly that that book wasn't going to prepare me, so I signed up for Kaplan. Kaplan, this is your shout out. I signed up for a Kaplan course. I took that Kaplan course it started in December of, or at the end of November of 2016. The bar exam that I had signed up for was in February of 2017. Kaplan did a fine job. I actually, if you are going through law school, my advice to you is when you're doing the Kaplan, they tell you to do all the questions and do all the practice tests. I strongly agree with them. I think their grading of the practice test was terrible. Just so you know, California at least puts out sample answers. Kaplan uses the past bar exam essay questions for their questions, but they have like a live person grading them, and that person was stupid. And so when I compared my answers to the California ones, the ones that California said were good, I thought I did much better. But anyway, do them. Do all the questions, do all the essays. It really did help prepare me. Obviously it wasn't 100%, but I walked out of every single session. There were 6 sessions. Apparently they've changed it now. It's going to be down to 4 sessions. But there were 6 sessions, and I walked out of every single one of those sessions at least 45 minutes early. And I thought for sure I'd failed, but lo and behold, a couple months later, I find that I was on the pass list. So yay. From there, I wasn't expecting to pass. So from there, I had to sign up for the MPRE. That was in the summer. Again, I wasn't expecting to pass it, but I did, so yay. And then I'm like, well, damn, I guess I got to do a background check. And so I did the background check, and then February of 2018, I got cleared on the background check, and I was a lawyer. Of course, they did take quite a bit of money between them passing me and me being a lawyer. The whole experience with Kaplan cost me about $4,000, but I guess it's worth it because someday I'll make that back. So when I graduated, I looked into it, and my plan was to release that I was a lawyer so that hopefully people would find me and say, hey, I'm in California and I want you to represent me on this lawsuit, and I was going to get rich. And then reality slapped me in the face like a bag of hammers. And I realized that most of the 1983 cases out there are going to be either losers, or they're not going to pay anything. Even if you win, there's no damages. And so you're gonna have to get paid up front, and it's expensive as hell to be a lawyer. It's expensive as hell to be a lawyer. It just is. And people don't want to pay the kind of wages, so then all of a sudden I was thinking about what else to do. Luckily I found the company I'm with, because it is hard as a brand new attorney with no experience to get hired on. Everybody wants you to have at least 1 year, preferably 3 to 5 years of experience. Everybody wants you to have a writing sample. Of course, until you have a job, you can't have a writing sample, etc. But I think I've been very forthcoming. I mean, I leave out the names of companies and things like that because you don't need to know them. If you don't believe me, that's fine. Just remember, though, that every answer I give you on the law, you are having an impossible time telling me I'm wrong, showing laws. The laws that I give you are correct. The cases that I give you verify my claims. You don't have to rely on me being an attorney. That's fine. I don't expect you to rely on me being an attorney. And in fact, before you go out and do any of these kind of things, I strongly suggest you talk to a local attorney. I've always suggested that. I think it's the right way to go. Local laws vary, state laws vary. You can't trust me because you're not my client and I don't know your situation. So always verify. But if you're trying to discredit me by saying that I haven't been an attorney for long enough, or that I haven't, whatever. If you're trying to attack my character, then you've already failed. If you could attack my argument and beat it, then awesome. You know, I'll even have a live debate with you if you think you could beat one of my arguments, and if you show me anything resembling a good argument. So there you go. Thanks for watching. Have a great day.